Gil, he means everything. He's been around for years. He knows every player from the championship teams all the way through till now, and everybody respects him. He's been here to fix some of the best professional hockey players' equipment, and he's always been around and just a great guy. Well, he was just a positive guy. Guys liked to be around him, and you could talk to him and ask him anything, and he knew everything about Laker hockey and the history of who we played and how the games went. And he has several great stories, and that's kind of what I'd like to do, in the future, is be able to pass on what Laker hockey is to the future generations. Well, he makes you want to work here. He's just I remember him on the bench during games when I was a fan, and how he used to take his arms and raise his arms to the crowd and get everybody going, and he'd go in the locker room before the game and tell the guys ringy dingy, meaning win the game, and go ring the bell. So that's the kind of stuff that I remember about him.
Obviously, Gilly's been around a long time, especially with the older guys. They know him pretty well, so he's definitely a legend around this area, especially in this locker room. He got to work the bench my first 2 years on one of the doors, which was great, and he'd come in before the games and give us a little pep talk, and I know all the guys loved him, so it definitely has a great lasting memory and legacy here. Just how excited he was to be here every day. When he came in on Fridays and Saturdays before the games, he was always so excited. He'd just barely be able to walk in here, but he'd be able to come in and fire us up before the games, and just that fun excitement that he had for this team and program was just really good. Just how he was on the bench, especially. You could see him opening the door, and pucks would be flying everywhere, but he wouldn't be too phased out there on the bench, and he'd come in before the games, and he'd tell us to let's get the win and ring the bell that night. So always when he was around, it was just a special time.
I mean, Gil had a huge impact on everyone that comes to his program. This is you sat here. This is the door he ran every night. He was always enthused to run it, and he's the type of guy that you couldn't help but smile with. It didn't matter what the score was, or what kind of issues you had going on in your life. When he came through the curtain, everyone just lit up, and that's the type of guy Gil was. He lived and breathed Laker hockey, and he's a face of the Lakers, and he'll be truly missed. I think seeing him up there every day. He came to every practice. He never missed a practice unless something was wrong. So seeing him there every day, and then of course on game days, after warm-ups, right before Coach would dress us, he would always come in, and he'd peek his head through the curtain, and he wouldn't get right in the room, but just enough to say, let's get her done, and ringy dingy. So those are two things that he said, and the boys just absolutely went berserk for it. So he did that every home game, and it's something that obviously we're gonna miss truly, because that's before a game you try to be serious, but at the same time you need to have a little bit of fun and relax a little bit. And Gil always brought that. He came into the room, guys would light up, and I know it was definitely something special to be a part of.
Well, I mean, ever since I was young, growing up in the Sioux, watching Laker hockey through most of the glory days back in the first national championships and everything, I think he's always been part of Laker hockey for as long as I can remember. He's always been on the door. He's always seemed to be wearing Laker colors everywhere you've seen him, but he's just one of those guys that just loved Laker hockey from the get-go, and he's always been a part of it. And every time you think about Laker hockey, I think you're always going to think about Gil Somes. I actually had the privilege to play with his grandson Jason Welch, who actually played here at Lake State and then went to Northern Michigan, won a national title here his first year, and so I knew Gil on and off throughout the years, but I think it didn't hit home to me until I actually had the chance to work here my first go around with Jim Rock, and Gil was around the team pretty much on every road trip and stuff like that, and just how passionate he was about Laker hockey and how proud he was to be a part of it. And I think it was just he was just a good man that just loved what Laker hockey was all about, and it was great to see. Gil always, liked to have a cold beer, and he always had a good smile on his face. And I think, just his enjoyment when he was at the rink. I think that's my most fondest memory of him.
Well, no, there's no question. Gil's just a great guy. And I've known him since about 1974, 75 type of thing. He came back to the Sioux, became the equipment manager here. Bud Cooper gave him the job, but just a really good friend. Spent a lot of time together. Laker Classics went to, since they started, we've been to every one. Just a great ambassador for the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and a great Laker supporter. He was on the bench until 2 years ago, and it was a struggle for him because he couldn't stand and couldn't really be around cold, but that never stopped him from being there. So a real dedicated individual, tough as nails. And I think that the national championships that Lake State won, a lot of it had to do with Gil being on the bench.